Hello, how are you today?
I'm good.
Thank you for having me today. What is your name?
It's Tammy Brooks.
Tammy Brooks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
So, what is your position and how long have you been here at the animal shelter?
I'm the senior admin assistant here at the shelter, and I've been here for a little over a year and a half
Okay,
with the shelter.
nice. Okay, so here, how are the duties distributed amongst the employees at the animal shelter?
Well, there's animal control, which involves our animal control officers. So they have to go through certain training, and they're out in the field picking up stray animals and checking on health and welfare of animals, um, and any kind of thing that's a danger to the community. They would handle that. Dog fighting, um, rabid animals, bats, that kind of thing. Snakes in people's yard, they go after those. um, and then we have the shelter duties here. We have animal care techs, and they take care of the animals, so they're trained to handle animals, and they care for them throughout the day, feeding, watering, cleaning, or they supervise other people that are doing that, medicating, checking on them during the day, making sure that the vet knows that they need to check on certain animals. And then we have our just office staff that basically, does the paperwork to whenever there are adoptions or rescues here to relieve the shelter of some of their animals.
Okay, all right, nice. Okay, so, how do you guys communicate with other programs such as maybe volunteers wanting to help at the shelter? Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
rescue teams who actually come in and try to save the animals if
Mm-hmm.
they're not adoptable?
Well, I coordinate the volunteer program here at the shelter. So what I do, we receive applications. Either people drop them off here, they might email them to us, they might send them to City Hall, and they go through our volunteer coordination division, and then they send them over to me for review if they've checked off that they're interested in volunteering at the shelter. So I review the applications. They have to be 18. There are certain requirements. We do require all volunteers to have a live scan fingerprinting done prior to their volunteering, and then there's animal care training that they need to review, take notes on, and then there's a 50-question multiple choice test. So once that is all done, the live scan comes back, then they can begin volunteering. And they do different things. Some of them just come to our special events and help out. Some might just come once a week, take pictures, to try to take better pictures than the ones that they see, and try to network and get people to adopt them or get people interested in them. Um, Things like that. And the rescue groups, basically, they're doing kind of the same thing. They're looking at our animals that are posted on petharbor.com, which is the website that all of our animals are uploaded to. They put in an interest that they will take that animal if it's not adopted by a certain date. And then we process the paperwork for that rescue, and they have to be approved. There's an application that they have to have, and we have hundreds of them, so we do have a lot that work with us all the time.
Oh, okay.
So they send an email saying they're interested, and then we do the paperwork, and they pay and send somebody to pick up the animals.
Oh, okay, that's neat. That was gonna be my next question,
Mm-hmm.
was if it was the same process as a regular customer who wanted to adopt a pet, or was it specifically different for a rescue team, but a rescue group? But
Yeah, rescue groups, normally when they come to pick up an animal, they're picking up several. They might be picking up 10 or 12.
oh,
So
wow.
they're not really meeting and greeting with each one separately as a private adoption person, because that rescue group is not going to keep those dogs. They have people in their groups that will foster them until a permanent home is found.
Oh,
So they're
okay.
just kind of getting them out. Maybe they're not the most adoptable pets, or maybe they're older or injured. So, or, maybe they're aggressive or they're not going to be adopted probably here. So that's what the rescues are doing.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And then, what are your limitations in your department and what you can do? Do you have do you look over maybe the three that you spoke about earlier, or is it maybe just in an adoption, the adoption way?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's okay. Well, I'm not one of the supervisors, so I don't really have anybody under me. So, but I do a lot of the office work, the administration work. I also help with the adoption events if we have them off-site,
Okay.
which we have several throughout the year. We just had one in April. It was the Pet in the Park adoption event at Sunnymead Park, kind of in coordination with Parks and Rec. They do the
Oh.
Easter egg hunt for the kids, and that same day we have a pet adoption, a pet in the park. So we take about 30 animals to the park, and and then I kind of do the adoptions there. I do the paperwork for the adoptions at those events.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's neat.
So,
That's interesting because
yeah.
one of my questions was also if you worked with was that if you guys had activities to kind of promote the animal shelter and get the word out to people who might be looking for a pet. But you said that you guys do get together with the Parks and Recreation, which is another department from City Hall.
Right.
And
And
get
they're
together.
like community involved, so they're trying to get the community involved, in different things. And another big event that we have that we do with them is in October. And it's kind of based on a kind of a Halloween kind of thing.
Okay.
It's a big event. You can bring your animals dressed up in costumes,
Oh,
and
cute.
they have face painting for the kids and bouncers and all kinds of stuff. And they have little dachshund races,
Oh,
so they
really?
they
How
line
cute.
up. If you have like a little dachshund, which is like the wiener dogs, they line them
Oh.
up and they race.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
I guess
fun.
that's a big thing. The first time I saw it was last year, but it was pretty cool.
That is nice. That is neat. And it gets
Yeah.
everybody involved, the family, the city.
Yeah, so
and...
there are a lot of families come to that. And then we also usually have one of the police officers that has a canine unit come and do a demonstration.
Oh.
They always have one of those.
Like on their training, the
Right,
dogs training.
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
really nice. So it's almost like a lot of maybe part of the city hall kind of gets together somehow and gets involved in
Right.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have a lot of support from our council and our management at City Hall. They really want to see the shelter managed to its fullest, and more adoptions and less non-adoptions.
Yes, and less bringing them in and
Right.
stray dogs. Okay.
Right. And then, like this past Saturday, we had a low-cost vaccination clinic, which we have, I think, we schedule 4 of those a year. So it's about once every quarter.
Okay.
So we offer rabies vaccines for only $6, and it's like for about 4 or 5 hours, I think, that they hold the clinic.
Okay.
So,
That's-
and that helps because that's a requirement in the community. If you have dogs, they have to have their rabies vaccine.
Okay. That's really nice. That's good. That's good to have, and people will actually do it and keep their animals safe from any problems to themselves and
Right.
others.
And then we also get their dog's license too, because in order for them to renew their license, they have to show us that they have a current vaccine, rabies vaccine.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's one of the requirements of the city too.
Okay.
So it kind of helps with that.
So it keeps everybody registered and everything.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
Okay. And then, so you said you do work with volunteers and rescue groups. Do you work with other animal shelters maybe that are bigger? Did they adopt out and in, or no? It's strictly...
We do some transfers. They're called transfers between shelters.
Okay.
And we do keep track of that. In fact, we did have, I think there were 3 of them that came in this morning from the Mary S. Roberts Adoption Center in Riverside. And they took 4 of our animals.
Oh, okay.
So they were here for a couple of hours walking around the shelter and just looking at the animals, and they had some ideas, some suggestions from some people of animals that they wanted out of here, and so
They were... Okay, cool.
so they took them. So now they're not here and they're at the adoption center.
Okay, so that's neat. So you guys also communicate with others, and that way you will help each other out
Right.
also.
Right, and then we have lists also, I was going to say, of fosters I don't know if I mentioned that before, but we do have
Yes.
like approved fosters. So what they want to do is maybe when we get a cat with kittens, newborn kittens, they will take the mother and the babies until they're old enough to be weaned, so that they're not here at the shelter getting sick for all that time. So they would take them home and, you know, care for them and then bring them back when they're at an adoptable age.
Okay.
And we have that with puppies too. We just had someone take some puppies this morning. So we just had a dog have puppies this morning.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. A
Yeah.
lot of interesting
Yeah.
stuff goes
Yeah,
on here.
I went and saw them after lunch.
Oh,
They're
cute.
cute.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for sitting with me and having me. Thank you.
Sure.